Well, I'm Andy Meyer, and I'm a front-of-house engineer for the band Shinedown. Well, I've been with Shinedown since 2019. I wanted a cool stereo. My family never had one. I would go to my friend's house. They had a cool stereo, so I told myself I wanted to have the biggest, baddest stereo in the world when I was a little kid. And guess what? I've got the biggest, baddest stereo in the world every night. It wasn't a plan to become an audio engineer at all. I was an ice hockey player. I met some guys that were in a band and they were going on the road, and I took off, got out of there. So I've been on the road since I was 17. I think back, it's nuts. One career for all this time. Who would have thought? Honestly, I started using outboard gear on Mötley Crüe in the early, well, that's not true. The Timberlake in the beginning in 2005, I had some, but just a few little pieces. And then when I started with Mötley, after that tour was done, I started adding preamps for guitar and for bass and things like that. And then that's where it kind of started to grow. It's kind of like a slow addiction, you know? You get a piece of gear and that, that's an improvement, that's cool. And then another thing and another thing. And I took the time to run stems at my old shop through a PA and pick gear. I spent probably 6 months listening to different summing mixers, compressors, things for every application. You know, you got to listen and make changes and move and do things and find where the sweet spot in everything. What I do is for many, many years now, I've incorporated time code and snapshot. The way my process is I treat it like a record. And I need to work in snapshot so that I can change things in verses and choruses. So if you pick a song, you know, there's an intro, a verse, a chorus, a bridge, chorus, verse. It can be 14, 18 snapshots in a song. I have over 400 in this show. So I just meticulously go through the file and clean it up so that every song and every snapshot is on point. That way I can take it and put it in and listen to it on my phone, in a car, in a stereo, and it sounds great. It's properly balanced with low end, the whole thing. So I basically build it like I'm building a record. Yeah, I'm very prepared. The things that change room to room are energy levels, where some rooms you can drive, it takes a little, you got to push your guitars a little harder, say. Other rooms it'll flow nicely and it's statically good. What do I love about SPL gear? It sounds amazing. You just turn it on, it sounds great. I guess the 120 volt technology actually works. It's not a thing. It works. You just turn it on, you pass audio through it immediately has more depth and width and warmth. It's just a great sounding piece of gear. This is the mastering side, basically. All right, so let's talk about the SPL Gemini. It's a mastering middle side processor, and I love having this for live use. What I do is I like to spread my mix depending on the venue or even song. And I also use it in full range because sometimes you need to break the system up a little bit, 100%, just to clean up a room that's a little boomy or loose. You know, I can spread, if I need to, if it's a really ambient room, sometimes I'll go a little more narrow so it's more in your face. If it's a nice warm place like this, I can cheat and get really wide and clean up the low end a little bit. So it's a lot of fun to have. You can solo, again, your side information and your mid information. You can also balance your system, but what I put into it's balanced. I don't need to do that. You can also insert gear on your mid and side, but I'm just using that as an overall left-right in this application. So the PQ is my mastering / system EQ. And what I'll do with that is typically, like as you can see here, I add a little bit of air to the system. And actually I'm adding a little bit of upper mid, very wide, and just to give the mix a little more energy. And the beauty of this EQ is you can do that in the upper mids and you'll get energy, but you won't get harshness. So that's a wonderful addition to the mastering chain here. The iron is the glue of the system right here. This is a wonderful, wonderful piece right here. And I'm just kind of tickling a little bit of compression and it's awesome. The Mercury, that is my D to A converter. It's a wonderful, transparent, flexible D to A converter. So you can adjust the gain and you also can do the variable output and do that if you like. So you can really tailor it to the gain structure of your system. It's transparent, it's wonderful sounding, and I love it. Okay, so the Vitalizer, what I'm doing with that, I'm adding a tiny bit of drive to pull the vocal forward. And I'm expanding his vocal bus. This is on Brent's vocal mix, left and right. I do that separately in the system. I have a band mix that I master, and then I have a vocal mix that I blend in post the console. So I spread this a little bit just to push the effects out of the way a little bit to keep him forward, but I can still get very wet if I choose to that way. All right, so the big, I've had it in many different places, but right now, currently, it's on my acoustic group. I kind of do a pseudo stereo acoustic thing with some plugins, and then I spread it a little bit and give it a little vibe with the big. And the big, it just sounds fantastic. The acoustics sound wonderful going through that.